Whether we want to admit it or not, every single one of us loves just a little bit of hate. It's like a guilty pleasure, right? Like there is no time where you hear gossip or like tea or just like somebody being just a little salty and there isn't a part of the back of your mind where you're like, I want to know. And if you can make it funny, even better. And that brings me to what we are going to do this week. Hey guys, welcome back to another one. And like I said in our intro, we're playing on a little human psychology this week. You know what I'm saying? Because whether you want to admit it or not, there is this little part in the back of your mind that loves hate. But for me particularly, it has to be done in a very specific way. If you can criticize me or hate on me, but make me laugh while you're doing it, all sins are forgiven, because for some reason, maybe it's like a dark sense of humor, but that speaks to me. If you are going to criticize me, or if you're going to give me some negative feedback on something I'm doing, something I'm wearing, something I said, make it funny, like make me laugh, and I am 1,000 times more likely to listen to you, because there's nothing better than someone who's being witty while they're criticizing you. And there's a very specific reason why I went on that soliloquy this morning. Recently, I read Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan, and I gave this book a 4.5 stars. So when I finished the book and went to Goodreads to go and update my rating, I went to go and mark it as 4.5 stars, and I noticed that there were 1-star reviews. So I read one-star review. It made me laugh, and it put me down a rabbit hole of reading all my most recent favorite books, 1-star reviews. And I think I did this probably for a solid hour. And it just made me think about how one person could love something so much and it could completely translate differently to another person. And people's creativity and intelligence when it comes to criticism made me laugh so hard, but it also made me realize that there are probably so many books out there that people are giving 1-star reviews that could be like my next favorite book. But before we get into what we're going to be doing specifically with our reading this week, let me throw a couple of books up here and read some of the ones that made me laugh so hard. So the first book, like I said, that I looked at was Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I gave this a 4.5 stars, but going down the loop of 1-star reviews, I just need to point out a couple of the ones that made me laugh the hardest. So the first one is this. With all due respect, I want my money back and damages paid for the time spent abusing my brain cells. 1 star. Just like creative. I like it. Here's another one. I rolled my eyes so hard at everything in this book. Horrible. 1 star. And the leading favorite is this. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, 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 nope. 1 star. Brutal, brutal. The next one I looked up was Reckless by Elsie Silver. This was my favorite book in the Chestnut Spring series, and Theo Silver to me was like chef's kiss book boyfriend. I gave this 5 stars, and if you know me, you know how stingy I am with my 5 stars, but that wasn't everybody's sentiment, and let me read you a couple of my favorites who disagreed. Here's our first one. 0.25 stars, inarguably the worst thing I've ever read, and I read a lot of bad things. You and me both. I feel you on this one. Next up, if you are a self-loathing person who has no worth for your own mind and soul, then this is the series I recommend you to read. 1 star. Oh my gosh, it's so brutal. And my personal favorite. The amount of cheese in this damn book had me rolling my eyes consistently. It's not even like rich and decadent cheese. It's that nasty runny cheese you get out of 7-Eleven that tastes funky and grainy. 1 star. Ooh, honey, stop going to 7-Eleven for your cheese, because I don't know what funky grainy cheese you're getting from 7-Eleven, but knock it off right now. There was also, I watched Twisters and thought I should give Elsie Silver a try. I was mistaken. 1 star. We've all been there. That delusion of seeing one thing and convincing yourself you're gonna love something. And then, last but not least, I was like, the real determining factor was pulling out the big guns. That is Fourth Wing. This is one of my favorite books of all time. This is a 1,000,000-star read for me. Honestly, the Empyrean series is right up there as my favorite series of all time, like notwithstanding Harry Potter. That's the best thing ever written. But the Empyrean series, and specifically Fourth Wing, has been my favorite books of the year every time I read them. But as much as it hurts my heart, there are people that are Fourth Wing haters out there. But they're hating in a creative way, which I love. So let's look at some examples. Okay, the first one. If I had $1 million for every cliche in this book, of which there are a multitude, I'd still regret spending $20 on all 498 pages of this mess. Like, someone sits at the computer and like types this. It's so funny. Another one. Originality exists. Yaros. We don't do that here. Oh my God. Okay, and then I found a phenomenon that I didn't even know existed. Like, is this a Fourth Wing lore thing? But people really hate Xaden's skinny jeans. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, I didn't even remember that he wore skinny jeans. Like, this is not something that stuck out in my brain. But a lot of people apparently hate that Xaden wears skinny jeans so much that they're giving him a 1-star review. So, Xaden wears skinny jeans, 1 star. I should have DNF'd this when I found out he wears skinny jeans, 1 star. Who remembered that Xaden wore skinny jeans? That was not something that stuck with me. And now for my personal favorite 1-star review of Fourth Wing, mostly because it's funny, but I honestly have no idea what it means. Doesn't matter, makes me laugh. This book is the equivalent of the cow print tops from Shein. Is it Shein? Shein? I don't even know. Shein. What does it mean? No one knows, but it's funny. So with that being said, I was sitting on Goodreads and I was looking at my May TBR, because this was back in May, and I thought to myself, I wonder what 1-star reviews, like funny, bantery, creative, intelligently written 1-star reviews I could find on some of these books. And then I can make you guys choose 1-star reviews for me to read. So that's what I did. I put up a bunch of polls on Instagram. I took my selected favorite 1-star reviews of the books that I was putting between, and you guys chose in a poll. So let's talk about it. So here's the first poll I put up on Instagram. These were 1-star reviews I found on the selected books Goodreads. The first one says, "Free me from this hell and take me back to planet Earth. Thank you very much." With a little like praying smile or praying emoji. And the next one says, "I want to bang my head into a wall." So I put this poll up on Instagram and I asked you guys to choose between the 1-star reviews. But before we talk about who won, I guess we should reveal what books these 1-star reviews were on. So 3, 2, 1. All right, so the top one, "Free Me From This Hell," that was on Never by Jessa Hastings. How crazy is that? And then the one on the bottom that said they wanted to bang their head in a wall, that was Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, which is also on my May TBR. So who won, you ask? Who won? There you go. "Free Me From This Hell and Take Me Back to Planet Earth. Thank you very much." Never by Jessa Hastings won this poll. So that is the first book we are going to attempt to read this week. Hopefully I don't agree with this 1-star review. Okay, so before I start reading, I just read the dedication and I want to read it because it's beautiful. It says, "To that very first lost boy who I loved so much when I was so little, you went to a faraway place that none of us could follow, and you are probably the reason I first fell in love with the story about the forever young, forever free boy. You were youth, you were joy, you were the little bird that had broken out of its egg, and you are, to this day, time-locked in my mind, all golden and laughing. I hope you found what you were looking for. I hope that you are free." Ugh. Even Jessa's dedications are beautiful. All right, chapter 1. Okay, so I'm not that far into the book, but this has Jessa Hastings' like classic writing style that she does in Magnolia Parks as well. So right at the bottom of her pages, she has these little like additional footnotes that give you thoughts from the character's perspective. And I know it gets some criticism from people, but I actually really like what she does. It's funny, like I like it. It kind of breaks up the paragraph for me a little bit, so I do understand people's criticism sometimes, but I tend to actually like it. All right, back to reading. Excuse this horrible angle, but I did just sit here and read to chapter 6, page 101 in Never. And I wanted to give you guys my initial thoughts. I'm not going to give too much of a synopsis about this book because it's a Peter Pan retelling. So if you've seen Peter Pan, you kind of get it. But this follows our main female character, Daphne, who is Wendy from Peter Pan's granddaughter. I believe her granddaughter, great-granddaughter, granddaughter, one of those. She's in Wendy's lineage. And in their family, Peter Pan has always come and taken them from their rooms at night and brought them to Neverland. She's a little older than it typically happens. She's been waiting for it. I think he typically comes and takes them like in their mid-teens, and she's 17. So she's been waiting for Peter Pan to come and take her, and he hasn't. He finally does, and he takes her to Neverland, and she's kind of just exploring the land at this part. This has one of the most beautiful maps I've ever seen in my life, and it's a very cool Neverland world. I'll see if I could just throw a picture right here so it's easier to see. It's a very cool depiction of Neverland. I like it. And there's different like areas of the island that we're going through and different creatures. You can see the little mermaids up on the rock. You can see the ship, which I'm assuming is going to be Captain Hook's ship. But it's just a little slow at this point. The writing is very flowery and lyrical and beautiful, and Jessa can write. I love Jessa Hastings' writing. I love it so much. I loved it in Magnolia Parks. I love it in Never. It's just a little slow. And I think unless we start differentiating in the story a little bit, this is going to fall prey to some fairy tale retellings and how they kind of go wrong for me, in that if you don't differentiate the story enough, I get bored and my mind wanders, because I don't need to get an exact retelling of Peter Pan all over again. Now, the cool part is she's changed up little things about some of the characters, like Jameson Hook, who is Captain Hook's like grandson, I think, or son. The way I'm reading his dialogue is either Scottish or Irish. I'm reading it in my brain in a Scottish accent, so like there's little things that are like different, and I do like those, and I like the new way that she's reconstructed the world. But right now we're kind of just exploring Neverland, and it is fairly parallel to the Disney movie, like a little bit more real life and risque, right? Like some of the things that they're saying, they've talked about some like adult topics, so it's definitely not a children's book like the Disney movie or like the original Peter Pan, but I like it. And I like the way she's portraying Peter. It's a very like immature, mischievous, quote, Peter Pan complex. Like, I just never want to grow up. He says out of pocket stuff. He's very immature. He has the childish way of communicating where he has like no regard for anybody else's feelings. So he's honestly a little annoying, but Peter Pan is supposed to be annoying. So like him and everything he stands for is supposed to be a little agitating to adults. So I'm liking it so far. I'm going to keep reading. I don't know how many pages are in this book. How many pages are in this book? 375. Okay, 375 pages of this book, and I've read 100 pages so far today. It would be amazing if I could finish this today or tomorrow morning. So if I keep reading it at the current pace, because I get so sucked into Jessa's writing, I think I might be able to. I did just finish Never by Jessa Hastings, and I'm giving this a 4.25 stars. I did really enjoy this, and it was different enough from the Peter Pan we kind of all know and love to keep me entertained. The only thing I will say is that I didn't love the ending of this book. And I guess this is kind of an unfair criticism because this is going to be a series. I know that Jessa, I believe, said that she's working on Never 2 right now. So maybe after the second one comes out, we will understand why the first book wrapped up the way it did. I just don't know if I loved the way the ending came together. However, this has classic Jessa Hastings writing. The writing is beautiful. I did like the characters. I'm not going to get too far into it because I don't want to give away anything, or like, I don't want to like taint your opinion, but there was a little bit of discourse about some of the central theming of this book as far as how Hook and Pan looked at our main female character in this book and her age and things like that. I didn't find that that was done in a creepy way. Like, in my opinion, if you've read Ricochet by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is book 2 in the Addicted Calloway series, and you didn't find Reich and Daisy's relationship infinitely creepier than Daphne and Pan and Hook's relationship in this, like, miss me with all that criticism, because this right here was infinitely creepier than anything that the boys kind of mentioned or alluded to with Daphne in this book. So I think we have a little bit of selective outrage in that, like up in that area, I guess is how I'm saying it. But I did really like this. I enjoyed it, and I will absolutely be moving on to Never 2. It was a little bit of a slower, like, not really less toxic because there's plenty of toxicity in here, but like different type of toxicity than what we're used to in the Magnolia Park series. So I did like it. Moving on to our second 1-star review poll. So here was the second poll that I put up on Instagram. There were 2 1-star reviews. The top one said very simply and succinctly and to the point, "What absolute garbage." And then the bottom one said, "Not everyone can write, and that's okay." One is so to the point and one is so passive aggressive, but I love them both. So I guess I should announce what books each of these were for. So the top one, "What absolute garbage," was for Zodiac Academy 3. And I can kind of see that. Like, if you don't go into Zodiac Academy knowing that it's kind of like the reality show of books, you would think it's kind of garbage because it's not like a literary masterpiece. It's just pure entertainment. And then the bottom is Twisted by Emily McIntire, which did kind of surprise me because the only other one I've read in the Refractured retelling series, what are they, Twisted Fairy Tales, I think she calls them? Fractured Fairy Tales, that's what she calls it. I read the first one, Hooked, and I really liked it, and I did not think her writing was bad, so that's kind of shocking. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and throw the results up on the screen. We are going to be reading Twisted by Emily McIntire with a 67% vote on the 1-star review. Interesting. Okay, let's see if I agree that the writing is apparently trash in this book. I've said it before that retellings, like straight retellings, are probably not for me just because they're predictable, because you quite literally know the story. But she tells them in a different way that keeps me interested and keeps me reading. And then, of course, you add the more adult content and it just feels more like, quote, age appropriate. Not that No Spice isn't age appropriate, but I'm saying like it feels more adult. It kind of elevates it to an adult space, which that's the way that I read. You know what I'm saying? So I really love her stuff. I am definitely going to continue on. What I love is that these are all interconnected standalones. So I've only read Hooked, which is the first one, and then I kind of jumped to this one. And I think there are parts where one other character from the book like may be mentioned at some point, but you don't have to read them in any particular order. It doesn't have a huge effect on the story. So Hooked was her Peter Pan retelling, and then this is her Fractured Aladdin retelling, and it was good. So as far as the 1-star original criticism, not everyone can write, and that's okay. Do I agree? I don't agree. I mean, listen, everything is subjective. Quote, good writing is different for everyone, but I mean, I feel like there's kind of an objective good writing and bad writing, and this writing might not be for you. Maybe that's what you mean. Like maybe the 1-star criticism could be like, this writing isn't for me, and that's okay. But it's objectively not bad writing. I mean, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. She's not reinventing the wheel with this story. It's Aladdin, and she just retold it. So how bad could it really be? She didn't even create the meat and potatoes of the story. She just tells it in her own way, in her own voice. And I don't think that's ultimately bad. So I'm going to go ahead and disagree with this 1-star rec, and I think the writing is fine. So that moves us on to book 3 of our 1-star reviews. And this is the poll I ended up putting up. So I found 2 1-star reviews on Goodreads for these 2 books, and one said, slow burn my ass. And the other one says, this definitely hurt my brain cells. So I put this poll up and I asked you guys to vote. I guess I should tell you guys which were the books for each of these criticisms. So Slow Burn My Ass was talking about The Right Move by Liz Tomford. That blows my mind because this book is such a classic favorite in the Windy City series for so many people, but apparently this person heard from someone that this was a slow burn and disagreed. So this definitely hurt my brain cells was the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. And honestly, like, fair enough. Like, I could see it. I read the Pumpkin Spice Latte, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. And I did like it, but it was what I refer to as like a brainless read, right? So maybe this person just doesn't get and appreciate the brainless vibes that I do. So these were our 2 books. And without further ado, let's see who won. 59% of you wanted me to read Slow Burn My Ass, which is The Right Move by Liz Tomford. So I will be jumping into that one today. And this is one that I have been putting off for so long. So I think a lot of you are going to be really excited that I am finally reading this. Okay, so I figured I'd pop in at yet again another Lindsay horrible angle, but I am so comfortable right now. Oh, I actually don't even know if you're going to be able to hear me over my air conditioning, but it's really hot out today, so that is not going to change. So sorry if the air conditioning is really loud. I should check these things and be more professional, but that's not what you come here for. Bad angles and unprofessionality is what you come here for. So I'm now about 120 pages into The Right Move. And this is what I'm going to say right off the bat. There is something very special about Liz Tomford's writing. It is just bingeable. It's very bingeable. And she doesn't do much character development, yet you like her characters, which is strange because usually I really feel like I need to like get very into the characters before I connect with them. But her characters are very just natural. I guess they just happen naturally. And their personalities are very natural. And their conversations are very natural. There's something about the way that she develops her characters that make you feel like you've just known them for a long time. So this book follows Indy, our main female character, who is on hard times, and her best friend suggests that she moves in to her brother's apartment because her brother is the captain of an NBA team. He makes a ton of money, and she's like, he has a ton of room in his apartment. Like, his apartment's way too big for just him. And secretly, I get the feeling that his sister is kind of looking for a little company for him as well, because I think he's just hyper-focused on his job, and she wants him to have, like, more of a social life and date and stuff like that. So she basically suggests that her best friend Indy move into his apartment until she gets back on her feet. So like I said, our main male character Ryan is the captain of an NBA team, and he's really trying to impress the GM, the general manager of the team. And the general manager is like a super family guy, obsessed with his wife. And Ryan feels that
because he's not attached, at least, or like bare minimum, like dating someone, let alone married, the general manager isn't going to be able to relate to him or take him seriously or think that he takes his position on this team seriously. So long story short, he kind of fibs and tells him that he's dating someone very seriously, but he's not. So then he's kind of held to account because the general manager wants to do things with him and his girlfriend, fiance, whatever it may be. So Ryan asks Indy, basically kind of says, like, I'm giving you a place to stay and helping you out. Could you help me out and pretend to be with me in front of my general manager so that my lie isn't exposed? Which, I'm going to be honest with you, fake dating isn't 100% my favorite trope. A, because I think it's not very original anymore, and B, because I find it kind of nonsensical and silly. Like, it's just such an easy lie to get caught in, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand, like, how long you think you're going to be able to do this. And then, like, what's the best case scenario, right? Like, in the books, they always, like, it works out and they fall for each other and they end up together. But in real life, I sit here and say, like, what's the best case scenario? Like, you lie that you're together to look like a family man, but then what, like 6 months from now, you're going to fake break up? Like, you're going to pretend to end this fake relationship, and then it looks like you broke up with your soulmate, which also isn't great. So, like, I just kind of don't understand the thinking. But this is fiction, not real life. So, like, the fact that Liz Tomford can still make me enjoy a book that has a trope that I don't really, like, love, that I don't really believe in, is a testament to her writing. So far, I'm really liking Ryan. I find our main female character, Indy, just a little bit annoying. Like, she's kind of bubbly, and that kind of irritates me because to me it comes off as kind of like empty-headed and silly and immature. But let's see what happens. We're going to keep going. But like I said, 120 pages in, I'm really enjoying my time. And I actually do have some stuff to do this afternoon, and my boys have their friend over, which is, if you can hear them yelling, they're outside yelling. My boys have their friend over. We have to go to a couple of stores. I do have to fold some laundry and do some stuff around the house. So I just did redeem an Everand credit for the audiobook for The Right Move so that I could put it in my ears and listen for the rest of the day and kind of like pick up the book when I'm in between tasks. If you don't know what Everand is, it's kind of like a library for audiobooks and ebooks where it's a subscription monthly. I forget how much I pay. I think it's like $17 a month, and you get 3 credits to read books, listen to audiobooks. It's amazing. I am an affiliate with them, so my code and my link are always in the description box below. I'm pretty sure you get a free 30 days. I don't know if that promotion is over yet, but I highly suggest it. It's where I go for all of my audiobooks because $17 a month for 3 is still a lot cheaper than paying Audible for the expensive audiobooks that they have. So if you are an audiobook girly, if you want to become an audiobook girly, go ahead and check out my link for Everand down below because I highly recommend it. So I'm going to listen to this on audio for a little while I get some stuff done, run to the stores, make sure I'm watching the 3 crazy boys that are outside, and hopefully I finish this today. I think I may be able to.
And just like that, it is just under 4 hours later, and I have finished The Right Move by Liz Tomford. I'm telling you, where have audiobooks been my entire life? If you are a busy person, a busy mom, a busy wife, a busy whatever, homeowner, busy business owner, busy person, and you are not using audiobooks to severely increase your efficiency as far as reading, I don't even remember what I did beforehand. Really, because it is now just about 4 something hours later, and I just finished The Right Move by Liz Tomford, and I really enjoyed it. So I went back and looked at what I gave the first book in the Wendy series, which was The Right Move, and I gave it a 3.75 star. I definitely liked The Right Move a lot better. I am giving this a 4.5 stars. I just liked the relationship between the main female and male character better. Like, Ryan and Indy, to me, had much better chemistry and were much more believable than the characters in The Right Move, and in Mile High. And I don't really care about all the nonsense that people complain about how, the male main character in Mile High, like, used to rag on her and used to say stuff. She ragged on him too. So if you're gonna dish it out, you gotta be able to take it, right? So I didn't really mind that. I just found Indy and Ryan more compatible and more importantly, I think that Ryan was just a better book boyfriend to me. So I pulled for their relationship more than the first one. So this is a 4.5. I really, really enjoyed this. I loved this. And I thought that the romance in it was top tier. The banter was good. I mean, here's what I'm going to say. This definitely falls into the type of romance that is so perfect it comes across cheesy. So if you go into this series knowing that, it's definitely like idealized cheesy. It follows the blueprint of like tension, 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 hook up, get together, it's perfect, everything's perfect, and then there's this big third act conflict, and then they get over it, and then it's happily ever after, and they get married and have kids and ride off into the sunset, right? Like, that's the blueprint for these books. It's gonna happen in every book, I guarantee it. I just know it. Watch me be so wrong. But I liked this couple. So if you know that you're following that romance rom-com, you know, idealized what they call HEA romance, like a happily ever after romance, that shouldn't shock you. It's really just has the author sold you on the characters. And Ryan and Indy, great. Indy, great. Ryan, top tier. So as far as the 1-star criticism of this, I gotta be honest with you, slow burn my ass. Accurate. I don't think that this would necessarily be what I would consider a slow burn, because it burned pretty much immediately, to be honest with you. Like, they resisted the attraction a little bit, but it burned pretty quickly. I would definitely not say, it's not that this isn't a slow burn, it's just that, like, if somebody asked me for a slow burn recommendation, I 100%, like, this wouldn't even enter my mind. This is not a slow burn romance. So I have to say, I loved the book. I wouldn't give it a 1-star. I gave it a 4.5, but slow burn my ass is pretty accurate. So I think I agree with the criticism, not the rating of that 1-star review. And just like that, we have completed another week of reading. These are 3 books that all had 1-star reviews on my Goodreads. And I gotta be honest with you, I don't agree with any of them. Like, even though these might not end up as being like my favorite reads of 2025 necessarily, who knows, maybe they will. But even if they don't, I do not think any of these books earned a 1-star. I think that's a little harsh. And even when I could see why the criticism is there, I don't think that any of them stood out that much for me to give it anything lower than I gave it. So I gotta be honest with you. This was a 1-star review video that I don't think I agree with Goodreads on. So if you liked this series, if you want me to keep like reviewing 1-star reviews and seeing if I can find books where the criticism and the rating is actually accurate on Goodreads, which, by the way, is subjective, comment the guy, this little guy, emoji below, meaning like, what do I think of these 1-star reviews? Like, are people actually right that these books suck? Below, and then do all the things that you are so professional at doing, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.